story too, y'all.
The first time I noticed something was off was when a beautifully illustrated, albeit slightly worn copy of Hansel and Gretel appeared in my classroom at Little Sprouts Kindergarten. There was no note, no indication of who it might have come from.
Probably a donation,
I thought, shrugging it off. I'm Sally. By the way, born and bred in New York, teaching these kids with all the patience and love I've got. The donations didn't stop at the book. Odd trinkets followed, crumbs of what looked like real bread, tiny figures that resembled children, and, most disturbingly, a small vial of what I prayed was red food coloring. It was when a note finally did appear, things took a sinister turn. For the little ones to find their way, it read, in a handwriting that was jagged and hurried. I brought it up with the principal, Mrs. Levinson, but she waved it off as someone's idea of a joke. But I knew better. New York's taught me to sense when something's amiss, and boy was I right. It escalated quickly from there. One morning we found our classroom door replaced with one that looked like it was straight out of a fairy tale, aged wood with iron detailing. Welcome to the adventure, another note read. This time, the staff was alarmed, but before we could delve deeper, the day's horrors unfolded. The storyteller, as he called himself, made his grand entrance, masked and robed, turning our school into a stage for his twisted narratives. Worse yet, he carried what looked like an automatic gun. He began with Hansel and Gretel, forcing us to breadcrumb trails around the school, leading to candy traps, sticky floors that glued the kids' shoes to the ground. His laughter echoed through the halls, a sound I won't easily forget. Next, he twisted the Pied Piper, playing eerie music all over the school's PA system. The children, entranced or perhaps just confused, followed the sound to the gym, where they were met with a maze of pipes and ropes. "Lead them, Sally," he demanded through the intercom, his voice a mix of glee and madness. "Or the rats will." I did as told, heart pounding, as I navigated the children through the maze, all while trying to shield them from the reality of the terror we were facing. His temper flared at any deviation from his script, objects being thrown from shadows, narrowly missing us as he bellowed corrections. The next of his performance was the most horrifying. "Sleeping Beauty," he declared. A student, little Emily, lay asleep in the center of the classroom, surrounded by thorns, real rose bushes he'd somehow brought inside, complete with sharp thorns. "Wake her, but beware the thorns, dear Sally." His voice taunted from somewhere I couldn't see. I wanted the kids to not panic, so convinced them that the masked man was just playing a game and we have to play along. It took every ounce of my being not to break down in front of the children. Using a path I cleared of thorns, I reached Emily, waking her with a gentle shake. It was a game to him, but a nightmare to us, one that felt too real, too dangerous. That is when Mrs. Levinson broke and rushed to her office to ring an alarm, but the masked man's bullets were faster. Mrs. Levinson's body fell with a light thud and skidded off on the floor as the gunshots terrified us all. Kids started screaming, teachers started shivering and crying, and then he yelled at the intercom again to quiet us all. "If anyone tries to make a call, a bomb would go off. If anyone tries to run out of the school, a bomb would go off. If anyone tries anything to disrupt my game, even if it's a kid or a teacher, they will die. I have my eyes everywhere." I had a feeling that the final act was yet to come, a revelation that would shake me to my core. I had to signal for help somehow. That is when I got an idea. As we were told to take the kids out to a different classroom, I got my hands on turpentine oil, which was used in art classes. As we were leaving, I quickly ran and soaked a curtain in it before picking a magnifying glass and focusing the sunbeam on it. It didn't take much time for it to light up, and I rushed out of the room, pretending not to know anything. Every minute passed with the staff and students of Little Sprouts Kindergarten on edge, waiting for another shoe to drop. And drop it did, in the most unexpected and horrifying way. Suddenly, there was an artificial fog everywhere inside a different classroom that he invited us in, and a life-sized figures of wolves lurking between the trees. Little Red Riding Hood. A note pinned to the front door announced, the jagged handwriting now hauntingly familiar. This time, the storyteller emerged from the shadows, dressed as the grandmother, his mask grotesquely resembling an older woman. "Oh, Sally, what big responsibilities you have," he crooned, stepping into the light, the staff frozen in fear behind me. The task he set before us was macabre, a scavenger hunt for items to save Grandma from the wolf.
You wear these booty shorts around other men? They're too damn revealing.
Wolf, hidden somewhere in the fog. With each item found, he would release a child from the cage he'd built out of tables in the middle of this nightmare. His temper was explosive. Any misstep from us or the children resulted in a tirade of shouts and bullet shoots. As the day wore on, his demands grew more bizarre and dangerous. He wanted us to reenact scenes from the story, with him narrating every move. It was during one of these performances, as I had to pretend to be Little Red Riding Hood, that I noticed something, a pattern in his madness. Each tale he chose was about children overcoming fears, outsmarting their foes. It was a slim chance, but it was all I had. I began weaving hints into our performances, signaling the children to be brave, to remember what we'd learned in class about real and make-believe. All the while, the storyteller watched, oblivious to the silent rebellion growing under his nose. The climax of his sick game came with the final note, left on the face of a little child. "The grand finale awaits, dear Sally. Come to the library, and let's end this story together." I knew it was a trap, but I also knew it was an opportunity to end this once and for all. I entered the library, the air thick with anticipation. He was there, waiting, the grandmother mask now lying on a table beside him, his real face shrouded in shadow. "You've played your part well, Sally, but like all good tales, this one must come to an end." But I wasn't alone. The fire which I had set alerted the passerbys, and firefighters were called along with police. They immediately realized that something wasn't right and called backup. The storyteller was so engrossed in his tales that he never even heard the faint sirens. And soon, the police burst in. The storyteller, caught by surprise, was quickly apprehended. As they led him away, his identity revealed. I couldn't believe my eyes. Mr. Thompson, the quiet librarian who'd been with us for years, his mind lost to grief after losing his own child, had become the storyteller. He'd sought to recreate his twisted version of children's stories, where the stakes were life and death, believing he was teaching them resilience through fear. The aftermath was a blur of police statements, counseling sessions for the children and staff, and a community trying to heal. Little Sprouts Kindergarten would never be the same, but we had survived, stronger and more united than ever.
Feels like a dream, feels like magic. Now I believe I can have it. All of my wishes came true. Shop like a
and shop like a billionaire.